Okay, in this video we're going to learn how to create a simple name puzzle that will ultimately be manufactured with the laser cutter as well as the CNC machine. We're going to base this on a new sketch. I'm going to sketch on the XY plane, and with a rectangle sketch tool I'm going to create a rectangle that is 100 by 300. Zoom out, give myself a bit more room here so we can see. Since this will be used by very young learners, I want to make sure that we make it safe by filleting the corners, and I'm going to do my fillets here in Sketch. So I'll use the fillet tool and touch the first two edges. I'll use a 3mm, perhaps a 6mm fillet. You can just now continue around the sketch because that is the currently active tool, the fillet, and finish up your, I'll just press enter here, and now I have created the fillets around the outside. I'm now going to add the text straight away here. And for this project we are developing toys or educational games and teaching materials for children in Nepal, and in this example I'm going to be creating a puzzle based on a list of names we have of students that we're going to be designing for. So here I have some playgroup students, and I'm just going to pick one of these students here. I'll choose Letitia. So I'll take Letitia's name, I'm going to copy that, head back here to Fusion, and I'm going to use the text tool to create text here on this puzzle. So I'll do that now. Press text, and I'm going to define the text area, so from one corner to the other. I'll paste in Letitia's name. I'll center that or align it both on the vertical and horizontal axis, and I'll actually use all caps Letitia and Arial rounded MT bold. Next I'm going to bold it up. Well, actually that won't make too much of a difference, as you can see, because it's already a bolded font, but I'll just do some experiments with the height, and just to try and get these letters nicely spaced. So let's try 45. I don't want the first and last letters to be crashing into the edges of the board. So I'm just going to do a little bit of experimenting here with the height. Oh, that looks just about right. I can see it's touching the boundaries of where I've defined the text, and that looks pretty good as it is. Character spacing though, we do want a little bit more space between the characters because these are going to be puzzle pieces. So actually if I change the character spacing here to say 3 and just see what happens. Okay, so maybe double that, 6. You can see I'm going to have to bring my height back down, so I'll bring my height back down to 40, and then I'm just going to do a little bit of experimentation with the character spacing just to see what is an appropriate amount of space for this puzzle. So it's looking like it might be 20. 20 looks pretty good there, and I might just add a little bit more, there we go, to this height. So in my particular case I'm using 42, and again I just want the text to touch the boundaries of the type sketch, and Letitia happens to have 2, 4, 6, 7 letters in the name, and so most of the names I notice on a list of students are about 7. This could be a good reference for future puzzles that require 7 letters for the name. So 42 by 20 in character spacing. I'm pretty happy with that. I'll click OK. And now we have that text sketch there. I'm also going to now right click on top of the text, and I'm going to explode this text. What this effectively will do is treat each of these letters as its own letter, rather than one flat piece of text. And that will give me a lot more flexibility in terms of how I use and manipulate it. The very next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the offset tool. I'm going to use the offset tool to create a 1mm offset around each of these letters, and this will give each letter a nice parking space for it to be positioned. So I'll press O for offset, and I'm going to go around and select. It looks like I may need to do this for each letter. That's okay. So I'll just check the direction before I just click flip yes, just to make sure. So I want to be moving to the outside with my offset. So this looks like to be the correct direction, moving to the outside. If you're not sure, you can always use these handles to drag in and out. So it looks like for me a negative value is making the offset area larger. So I'm using a offset in this case of -1. I'll click OK, and then I'll drag my right click button up. This lets you repeat the last command, and I'll do the same here for a -1. I'm only going to extend the outside of the A, not the inside. So I'll click OK, and then this process will be, just press O this time. I know my value is -1, press enter, press O, enter my value, and I'm just going to move around each letter and offset the outside of it using that value. Great. Alright, so I have an offset of all the letters, and I have the letters themselves. Okay, now I'm going to switch my view to the home view, and I'm going to use the extrude tool to create the board and the letters. So I'll click E for extrude, and I'm actually, in this particular case, I'm going to create the lettering first. So I'm going to click on the inside of each of these letters. So making sure I'm zoomed in nice zoom here so I can see, and notice I'm looking at this in the default home view. Find this a bit easier when we're extruding. And then I'm going to make sure my operation is new component. So click new component, and I know that each of these letters is going to be cut with the laser cutter using 9mm thick wood. So I'll put in for the value here. I'll start pulling it up, and I'll ensure that the distance will be 9, which is the thickness of my wood. Make sure it's new component, and then I'll click OK. You'll see I have a component now, and I'm going to quickly rename it to letters and go back to my home view. Alright, so there's my letters. I'll turn the letter component off for the moment, and I'll perform another extrude. This time I'm going to extrude the board, so everything we see. To do that, I'm going to just click and drag around the entire sketch. You'll notice that all the sketch profiles have been selected, which is what I want. And I'm going to be cutting the board from 9mm MDF as well. So I'll just get my arrow moving in the correct direction, and I'll change the value here to 9. press OK and make sure that this is a new component, and this component is going to be I'll leave it to new body, sorry, and this new body is going to be the board. Now you'll see I have a body in my browser timeline. I'm going to go away there straight away and name it to board. And then my last task here is to create the space for all the letters to be following. And to do that, I'm going to temporarily turn off my body board. Come in a bit closer. I'm going to press extrude, and this time I'm going to touch both the offset of the letter and the letter, except in this case for the letter A, I also want to include what we call the island of the letter, and you'll see why in a moment. So I'm then just moving in, and here I'm panning as I'm zoomed in. It's the mouse button 3, press straight down. Very fast to do this. And I'm just zooming in and out and panning, being careful to select the areas that I need. So there they are, the offsets included. Zoom out a bit. Now I'm going to turn my body back on, and if we look to the right here, you'll see this profile is at the bottom of the board. I want to press it down from the top surface. So for start of my extrude, I'm going to change that here to an object. The object I'm going to start from, I will choose the top surface here. Click it once. And then I'm going to make sure the operation is cut. And I'm going to start bringing the arrow down from the top, and you'll see we are cutting down into the surface of the board. And I'm going to cut down by a value, well, we have a 9mm pieces of puzzle pieces, so I'll use 1/3 of that is 3, and click OK. And now you'll see, I'll turn off the sketches to make that a bit easier to see, we have cut out the offset of the letters, and we have removed the islands, in this case for the letter A. And if I turn on my letters there, you'll see it will means that we have a nice space around the letters, and there's no island here to interrupt the placement of the letter into its little parking space. Okay. Actually, we can see in my case the board is the same height as the puzzle letters, and so that's because if we look on this view, my puzzle, all of my letters are sitting at the very bottom, but that's not technically correct, because I've only pressed the board down by 3mm. So actually this is fairly easy to fix. I'm going to choose move and make this a bit more accurate. I currently have my component selected, so that's the object I'm moving, and I'm going to move it in the Y axis, vertical axis, not by degrees, but I'm going to move everything up by 3mm, and you'll see that now the letters are above the surface of the board, like so. And I'll click, because I've only gone down 3. Actually, I think I need to go up, yes, that's incorrect, sorry, I need to go up 6, because I've only, if I look at the right side of this board, I've only come down by 3. I'll capture this position, click OK, and you'll see what I mean in a moment. Go back to our home view here, and we can make things a little bit easier by converting the body, it's called board. Let's convert that to its own component. So now we have 2 components here. I'm also going to make things a bit easier to see, I'm going to change in the inspect menu, I'm going to say cycle component colors, so it'll automatically choose a color for different components in your design, and this just makes things a bit easier to review and see what's happening. And then the last thing I want to demonstrate here is the use of the section analysis tool. which is found in the Inspect menu. The section analysis tool is quite helpful. It lets you, you see the origin planes have come here. I'm just going to select this one here. And basically what that allows us to do is we can see a cross section or section analysis of a design. And this is useful when you want to review the design, especially if it has parts that need to fit together. So you'll see in this case that the letter is sitting perfectly on top of the board here, and that's basically what I want to check. So everything there looks okay. I'll just press cancel for my section analysis home, and then it's always a good idea just to apply the appearances that you need. So I'll press A for appearance, and I'll search for a MDF texture. I'll apply that to the board for now, and let's see if we have ply in the library. Ply doesn't look like there's any plywood. We can look for pine. Pine is a close enough material, so you can see if there's an arrow here, you need to download that. So yeah, I'm going to bring down a pine, 3D painted pine appearance here. Just click the arrow, and but for now I'll just apply this unfinished pine look to the board. Yeah, pine. Pine's definitely a good choice for us here. We'll have to order some pine, and then we can see here nice gaps in the lettering. I would finish up this model by coloring each of these a different color. We could just look for paint and choose perhaps some kind of not powder coat, but just maybe a standard kind of metallic paint. I don't have any downloaded right now, but you can see it would be pretty straightforward to put an appearance, a different appearance on the letters. Just make them pop, and I'm going to use these fun colors here. One more appearance here, a white, and then maybe another appearance. Let's just find this orange for now. Does that one allow me to do it? No, it's not. Okay, I'll probably just duplicate this red, and then on this red we can maybe make that perhaps an orange. There we are. I just duplicated this one. Alright, and there we have it. We have the letters for the puzzle. They're their separate component, and we have the board. If I turn off the component cycling, you'll see the appearances that I've made, and that is how we can create a name puzzle.